Associated Press, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Space Station, this is the Associated Press. How do you hear me?
AP, hello. We have you loud and clear. Welcome aboard the International Space Station.
Well, hello, everybody, and a Happy New Year to you all. I'm speaking to you from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida today. It looks like you're going to have to wait a little longer for your next grocery delivery. I'm wondering if you were watching the launch countdown live this morning, and how disappointed are you with the latest delay?
Oh, yes, we were watching, and certainly there's a little bit of disappointment because it had, fresh fruit and those type of things that we're all interested in getting, and other things, of course. But they'll get off the ground here in a couple of days, and it'll all be great.
I'm assuming you all have Christmas presents on board the Dragon. What's the word on that?
Yes, we do have Christmas presents on board, but I don't know what they are because we have to wait to open them up. So I'll let you know here in a few days.
Well, wonderful. I'm for each of you, I suppose. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the upcoming one-year mission by Scott Kelly and Mikhail Kornienko. How difficult do you think it'll be for them to spend a solid year in space, and could you imagine yourselves doing that?
Well, Terry and I have arrived here about, it's probably 6 weeks now. And I can tell you, I've loved every moment of it so far. I'm not necessarily looking forward to go back. So from my perspective right now, I think it's great to spend a lot of time up here. Of course, as time progresses, it might become challenging to be away from home. And of course, I wish them strength in that sense. And of course, I wish them to be able to stay healthy for a whole year. I think that's going to be an important challenge. And that's one of the reasons why they're doing that, to see how the human body reacts to such a prolonged exposure to microgravity and the environment of space.
Perhaps
I think one of the biggest challenges is to...
Please go ahead.
Yeah, a little delay there. We keep stepping on each other a little bit. Yes, I was just going to say that I think one of the biggest challenges is maintaining a focus, because every single step of every single task is very important. Everything that we do, and it's a wide variety of things that we do, and to maintain that mental focus for 6 months is difficult, and to do it for an entire year, I've just got to think it's got to be even more difficult, because what we do is very important. You don't want to make any mistakes. Mistakes are inevitable. We're human, so you want to minimize those. So maintaining that mental focus, I think, will be challenging. So maybe a couple of 3-day weekends, those type of things, to let their brain kind of relax a little bit would be a smart thing.
Well, thank you for that insight. We learned at the news conference yesterday that NASA and the other station partners are hoping to fly maybe 12 one-year crew members altogether to get more sample subjects for the life science people. What's your take on how easy it might be to rustle up more crewmates willing to spend a solid year in space, and would you guys be interested potentially down the road?
The doing a one-year flight is actually a pretty significant challenge for our office, because of the number of flight assignments that are available is pretty small, and so that takes up 2 flight assignments. But I'm sure that we'll have enough volunteers that won't be a problem. And of course, the science folks know what science objectives they're looking for, and they can determine what's necessary, what we need to do for those flights in the future.
Well, how necessary do you think it is to do these one-year stints if the goal is ultimately Mars?
It's I think the question for Mars is how we're going to get there. If we take a conventional rocket, it takes about 6 to 9 months to get there before you're on the surface, and the same amount of time to get back. And if you take electric propulsion, if we develop a new system, you could get there in only a couple months. So the question for Mars is really how are we going to get there when it comes to the propulsion? And but I want to echo what Samantha said earlier. We've been here, this is our 7th week now in space, and I'm already thinking, man, there's not enough time. There's a lot more that I want to do, and I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to get it done in 6 months. So And I know Scott real well. He's going to handle it. He's going to handle it very well. And my goal on Expedition 43 is to make sure we get him off on the right foot for his 1-year flight. And I'm sure he's going to do great.
For Captain Cristoforetti, my question for you specifically is, how is the space station coffee, and do you still expect to see the Italian espresso machine fly up on your mission?
Well, the space station coffee is not bad. It could be a lot worse. So I'm not complaining in any way, but I am indeed looking forward to the espresso machine, and of course there is some challenges with resupply now, as we know, but I have heard good news, and there is actually still a pretty good likelihood that it will be up here before I leave, and so I'm really looking forward to try this space espresso.
Well, wonderful. I'm assuming that it might be on the follow-on Dragon mission then, or might a Progress take it up at this point? What are you hearing?
Well, as far as I understand, Progress is not an option, but there is an open option for the next Dragon, so that is my hope right now.
And have you brought up any other Italian food specialties to enjoy with your crew, or maybe you've already gobbled all that up for the New Year's celebration?
I have brought up some food that was made especially based on my preferences. I did not focus so much on traditional Italian cuisine, but I focused on recipes that that employ very, very nutritious ingredients. I thought it was very important to bring up food that would help me to stay healthy in this very challenging environment. And so I have some pouches with ready-made meals that are just very, very good for your health. And just to give you an example, I have a quinoa salad with mackerel, and I have some curry chicken with mushrooms, and some muesli with plenty of really healthy nuts and fruits for breakfast. And so it's been great to have that on board.
And she has shared, and it's very good.
Tell me, two of your big experiments, Robonaut and the 3D printer. How's Robonaut doing with its new legs? I haven't heard too much about it lately. And have you made anything functional yet with that 3D printer that you're actually using up there?
Well, I'll talk about Robonaut. He's actually right there, right behind me. And we had him out probably about 2 weeks ago. And got him powered up, and we ran out of time. We weren't able to get a lot of motion out of him, but that's coming in the near future. So yes, he's been out. We woke him up, but he's back hibernating again. I'll let Butch talk about the 3D printer, which is right there.
Yeah, the 3D printer was pretty amazing. Watched some items print out. They made what I called a honey jar. And just the cap and the jar itself fit together perfectly, though they printed separately, which I thought was very intriguing, very interesting. Of course, they wouldn't let me put honey in it because they have to take it back to Earth and assess how it all came out. Also, a ratchet wrench. We made a ratchet wrench. Of course, again, they wouldn't let me use it, though I wanted to, because they'll have to send it back and, like I said, assess it. So anyway, it's pretty intriguing, pretty neat science.
Well, I'm wondering if you could share your New Year's resolutions from space. What are they? And how was your New Year's Eve celebration, I should say? How was ringing in the new year?
New Year's was great. Going around the Earth 16 times. We got to cross, midnight somewhere on Earth 16 times. That was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we were almost always over the ocean, so we didn't get a chance to look and see if we could see fireworks, over London or Washington or New York or Moscow or any place like that. But it was a lot of fun. So I've resolved to spend more time on the ceiling this year. In 2014, I spent way too much time on the floor, so I'm going to try and get up there on the ceiling. That's one of my New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, I guess my New Year's resolution is to start doing more and more video here on board of the space station, just to document the amazing life and work that we do up here a little bit more. And as far as our New Year's celebrations go, I'd like to mention that we actually danced. I didn't quite know if it would be possible to dance in weightlessness, but we gave it a try. It was fun. I'm not sure that it looked like dancing from the outside, but we felt like we were dancing, and so that's our story, and we're sticking to it.
I didn't make any New Year's resolutions, but I like Terry, so I'm going to spend some time on the ceiling.
Well, listen, all of you, all three and all six of you, Godspeed on your travels, and have a wonderful New Year. Buon anno to Signora Cristoforetti.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the Associated Press portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from KGO-TV.
Space Station, this is KGO. How do you hear me?
Loud and clear. How do you hear us?
Great, thank you. Great. Good morning. Thank you for making time for us. This is San Francisco calling. Can you tell me about today's launch and how you guys feel about it? Or it didn't launch?
That's right. We were actually watching. Mission Control in Houston was able to send up some live video, and we knew the weather was a little bit iffy today, so it wasn't a big surprise. We'll just wait a few days and they'll launch when they're ready to go. We're definitely looking forward to the cargo that SpaceX 5 will be bringing up to us. Personally, we all have food and some Christmas presents on there that we're looking forward to, but more importantly, there's some good science and some equipment that we'll need for future spacewalks on there. So it's an important resupply mission, just like they're all very important resupply missions to the space station.
Other than the Christmas presents from your loved ones, what's the one thing that you really looking forward to personally on the supplies that you want?
Well, I hate to, I'll be honest, and I'll just tell you, when you come up here, your tastes change a little bit. A lot of people probably don't know that, but you like spicy food, and there's not a lot of spicy. We ran out of condiments about a month and a half ago, so I'm looking forward to getting some yellow mustard and make this food just a little more tasty.
Can you talk about the importance of this rocket, this particular one, and the return of it?
I think you're referring to they're going to try to land on a barge, which will be pretty amazing. And the real benefit there is an economic one. If you can reuse the boosters, I think that's going to reduce the cost of launching to space, which of course is important. It's the biggest limiting factor we have in getting to space is the cost. And so if they're successful in being able to reuse the first stage booster, that'll definitely help.
Can you talk about, as an astronaut, as far as reusing this equipment and traveling?
Well, I think the greatest example is the space shuttle, which we just retired, just a couple of years ago. The reusable, as we reused it, gosh, 135 flights we did on the space shuttle with reusable engines, reusable avionics, everything. Of course, which brought the cost down substantially over what it would cost to build a new one every time. So obviously, there's the greatest example right there.
And for our viewers here, the Bay Area and San Francisco, there's some kids in Oakland, I believe, that have experiments on this cargo. Talk about the experiments that are going to you, and how do you communicate with these people, these young kids? I think one of you likes to Twitter.
No, we are, of course, looking forward to the science that is coming up. I am, in particular, looking forward, of course, as an ESA astronaut to some ESA and ASA, Italian Space Agency experiments that are coming up on Dragon, which include, for example, airway monitoring or triple looks, or some hardware that was actually lost on the unfortunate mishap earlier or last year, and that is being replaced for experiments studying Venus, blood circulation, and sleep. And as far as doing stuff with kids, that's, of course, always very exciting. I actually look forward to, in a couple of weeks, I believe, or even less, with Yelena, my Russian crewmate, We're going to be supporting the finals of the competition Zero Robotics up here. So we have these 3 spheres that actually can be controlled inside the cabin, and we will run software developed by students throughout the world, and that will actually compete here on board. We will run that software, and those spheres will fly in the Japanese modules, and we'll see who wins. So that's, of course, very exciting.
And do you communicate with them via Twitter?
We do, actually. We all use Twitter. I'm Astro Terry, she's Astro Samantha, and Butch is Astro Butch. And that's probably one of the best ways to communicate with folks. We love sending out the pictures that we take. The views here are just unbelievable. Sometimes we'll post pictures of us inside doing the things that astronauts do on a daily basis. It's a really easy way for the public to see what we do and to share in the adventure that we're having in a small way, or actually in a big way. It's a lot of fun to do that.
Is there any other form of communications you have?
No. Well, I make an effort to write a daily logbook, so a short account of what happened during the day and my perspective, of course, the stuff that we do in terms of science and maintenance, but also just my observations in terms of adapting to the life on the space station and little things that surprise me. Or just, how we celebrated Christmas Eve, for example. So I try to do that, and it's my way to try and share as much as possible of this amazing experience that I am living.
And Samantha,
We also have
you have a
Instagram is used, and the NASA websites are used. So there's other ways besides just Twitter. Instagram, the nasa.gov website, like Samantha said, Google, so there's other things. But here she is for your question.
Samantha, it sounds like you've been schooled in France, German, Italian, Italy. I think you speak Chinese as well. Do you have any messages to say to the Bay Area, where you have a diverse community here? Maybe say it in a different language, like greetings in different languages?
Of course, I do have to say I don't really speak Chinese. I have only started to learn it, and it's my big project for when I get back to the planet. But yeah, I've been in San Francisco in the Bay Area. I actually have many friends there. It's a city I love. I always enjoy visiting. So ciao e tanti auguri a San Francisco. Alles Gute und guten Tag aus dem Weltraum nach San Francisco. And bonjour San Francisco. C'est très sympa de vous parler aujourd'hui.
And fellas, do you have any greetings you want to say from outer space?
Well, yeah, I'd like to say San Francisco is one of my favorite places in America. Actually, Butch and I both learned how to land the space shuttle there at NASA Ames. And I've got 15 years of great memories of going out there for NASA, and I miss it. And I'd love to have an In-N-Out burger right now, too. That's one of the main things I miss from San Francisco. So that's definitely on our to-do list after we get back to Earth.
I'm sorry, was that Butch or is that Terry that I was speaking to?
Yeah, that was Terry.
I have 1 minute for this interview. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap anything up? Thanks, Peter.
Well, we do appreciate the support of all Americans across the nation, and actually everyone across the globe as this international cooperation. So it's a huge effort, and it's involving hundreds of thousands of people around the globe. And thanks to each and every one of you for your efforts and the passion for human spaceflight. It's making a difference, I think, in our world.
Thank you very much, everyone.
And thank you all. So long, San Francisco.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes the event.